A wrench has been thrown into the plans, almost literally. The missus came to stop by, and when she did, she pulled up and her car was smoking, about to catch fire. Welcome back to another episode of Broken Mirror, guys. If you are new to the channel and you like seeing cars go from being worth $500 to $5,000 in a short amount of time, then you're in the right place. Make sure to go down, hit the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you get alerts when the videos come out. Also, if you're new to the channel, we've kind of taken a weird turn of events for this week's episodes. Last episode, I kind of showed all the viewers the salon that me and the missus have acquired and all the work that's been done. So this is our little salon. And I've been needing to finish this thing up just simply because it's time to open up and start making some money out of this thing. And I need to wrap this up this week. Still fingers crossed that I can do that. I have about 8 days until I'm supposed to be done in here. Hopefully I can get it all done. I think I can. Most of the hard stuff is done. We had the sink moved from the back to the front up here. We put in shampoo bowl stands in the back with plumbing underneath. We had the electricity done for mirrors on the walls here, just a GFI outlet here. And then in the bathroom, you can actually see there's going to be a matching mirror and the electricity's done for that hole as well. So that was all in the last episode. On this episode, I think I first want to tackle these chairs. Right now, all the businesses, the one upstairs, which is a day spa, the one next door, which is another type of spa, they're open right now, so I want to try to be quiet for the next few hours. And I've had some people kind of mentioning, why are you worried about being quiet, yada yada yada. Trying to be nice to my new neighbors. We just moved in. I don't want to be complained about already, especially after the whole Karen thing. I just want to keep peace with everyone around here and have a good working relationship. With that said, I do need to work, so there's going to be times they're just going to have to deal with it to a degree. But I do try to be conscious of when I have to compared to when I need to, type of deal. But that said, since I can be quiet, I might as well start tackling these chairs because they need to be done. So basically what I need to do is heat this chair and try to make it fit in basically like this one, how it's supposed to be sitting in here nice and flush. Essentially what happened is the gentleman that we bought them from, nice guy, owned a salon, still owns a salon, I think 30 years plus, but he got these chairs brand new and he actually saved them for us and put them to the side. But when he did, he ended up having to leave them in the sun. The sun came out, warmed up all that glue, all that vinyl, shrunk it down when it cooled and kind of got it stuck like that. So unfortunately that happened to 4 out of the 5 chairs. The other thing that happened is there's a couple little spots where there's tears that need to be fixed on these. I think it's just this one, and this one's already been repaired. You can actually see the style of vinyl that they try to copy. So we're gonna have to fix that one as well. I think the other one could probably just be done with the glue stuff that they give you in the kit. And then once we get all that done, the goal is to paint these with a vinyl paint and kind of bring them back to life. I think it's going to be a really cool color. I think it should really make it pop and be a sharp addition to the salon. And then after all that's done, I need to buff the base of these kind of like the eggshell shapes. So if you look on this one, it's got like all the little blue check marks. There's a couple that just have a little extra color. I believe, yeah, this one has overspray from the vinyl paint before. I think I'm going to take that down with like 3000 grit, get that clean, and then buff all of these. The gentleman mentioned that he used to use Ajax to scrub them clean, and he used the word scrub, and that kind of made me nervous. And Ajax is already a bit of an abrasive mixed with the word scrub. I'm guessing he probably used like a Scotch-Brite. So these are essentially like have been sanded for clear coat work. If you want to put it that way. So because of that, they kind of lost some of their color. You can tell that either they've absorbed dirt or they've been scrubbed off their cool color so much that they've kind of tainted. So I don't know if you can tell, but basically the bottom, the bases are like a nice glacier white, and that's what the rest of this should look like. In fact, this one kind of has the color, but it kind of fades as you go around the edge. So my goal is to come in here and buff these things, at the very least give them a good polish to bring back that color, hopefully. I really want to get that color out because it's much cleaner. This is like an eggshell. It just doesn't look as good as it could. So it's kind of the goal for these whole things, but before I even get that far, I first need to try to start learning how to fix this issue. So I think what I'm gonna do is heat this up with a heat gun and then try to push it in, kind of mold it slowly, and then cool it. I should have brought some water. I meant to bring some water, like the spray bottle that I just got, and spray it down, but I honestly forgot. So anyway, I'm gonna try to heat it up with some water, probably just sprinkle some water in my fingers out of a bucket to try to cool it down, see if I can't get it to stay correctly. So that's the goal. I'm gonna get started. All right, the chair heating thing is done. A couple came out amazing and the rest came out pretty good. I'm not too concerned. My first thought was to try to peel them off and try to re-glue them, but because some of them came out like perfect just from the heat, I don't think it's gonna be worth it for me to try to tear that off and re-glue it and get it. The OCD part in me wants to make it perfect, but the realistic part in me trying to keep this moving realizes I'll probably do more damage than good trying to tear this apart. But check it out, came out pretty good. So this was one of the worst ones, and I definitely was able to stretch it all the way in, all the way around. I did melt in a few spots. You can see the vinyl got a little thick here. This one was definitely one of the worst ones as well, and unfortunately I couldn't get this side to re-glue or even stretch enough to just stay there. It just would not give in for me. This one came out awesome again. Probably one of the more little worse ones. This one, which was actually the last one that was pretty decent, it just has a few little spots. Oh no, this isn't the least one. Maybe this was the least one. Okay, this one needed a little bit of work, but it wouldn't give in, and I'm starting to pull the stitching. I think that's it. I think that one's gonna be wrapped up. This one, I did end up tearing the stitching, you can see. So I'm gonna have to come in here and fill it with like a glue or like a little bit of an epoxy type deal. But now they are ready to be painted, wiped them all down. I do wanna get into some of the little jams here. They're a little filthy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's gross. I wanna clean in these jams before I paint it up. But that I might do maybe tomorrow. It's starting to get late here, and because it is getting late, I know that everyone went home, so I want to tackle, oh, you guys can't even see this. Okay, so I want to tackle this hole quick, basically just fill it up, fill this hole up quick as well. Fortunately, I have no lights in here because I need to put the lights on and wrap this whole thing up. I'm gonna screw these in quick, and I'll maybe try to tape it. I don't know what you're gonna see, but hopefully the drill light will show you what I'm doing. Basically what I'm gonna do is put a support board here on the side like I did with the other holes. Probably one to go from the top of this hole down to the side, and then just put in a couple of screws to set this whole thing up, put the sheetrock back on. Oh, and I never got to show you guys. So this is like our little break room kind of storage area thing. And then this is, of course, the shampoo bowl room. Oh, and I ended up giving my father a call and confirming that it is like a graded mesh type of deal, but it's not steel. He said it's more like an actual screen to a screen door. I do want to get that. He said it definitely cuts a lot faster. He said I could also use like a Scotch-Brite pad. I got a lot to do. And I forgot to mention to him that when I did this, it was spackling. And I didn't realize there was a difference between spackling and joint compound. And I will tell you, this was not easy to fight this stuff on. It is so thick. It's really more of a clay than a mud. Such a pain to get on here. It took me so long. What should have took me, I don't know, that took me 15, 20 minutes. This, along with the other side, took me well over an hour. This is a big fight. So I learned my lesson on that. So I am gonna grab, I think, that mesh to cut this down quick, probably just to get it more even too, because it did do a lot of like little bubble edge. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's a lot more raised edge to it. Anyway, my goal for right now, since it is late and no one's around, I do want to tackle that bathroom. Hopefully you guys can see something. I don't have any lights except for the one on the drill. Maybe I'll try buffing one of these bottoms, and then I'm probably gonna wrap up for the night. So anyway, I'm gonna get after it. See you guys in a bit. All right, the sheetrock is up in the bathroom, cleaned up, looks good. I kept breaking through one of the spots the whole dang time. It's driving me nuts, but it's on, it's good. The next thing I think I'm gonna do, just to kind of wrap up this evening, I wanna try buffing one of the bottoms of these chairs. So I'm gonna take this one, flip it upside down, wet sand with like 3000, that 3000 scrub that I have, to get all the color spots off. And then I wanna try to buff it, just to kind of see what happens if I need to do something different, like just paint it. And yeah, just to kind of learn where I need to move forward with this thing. I would like to buff them first, because after I paint them, I don't want them to have to sit upside down again. So that's my goal for right now. At least tackle one of them, see how it turns out. If it starts going quick and easy and looks good, I might just do all of them and then talk to you guys in a little bit. So anyway, that's my goal for right now. Let's get at it. All right guys, all the drywall in the bathroom is done. Looks pretty dang good. I'm really happy. I called my dad last night and he basically just taught me a few tricks, and just from talking to him for about 20 minutes last night, this came out a heck of a lot better than anything I've done so far. So really happy about it. Thanks, Pop. I appreciate it. I ended up going just now to the store, but getting all the mud done worked out perfect. My father mentioned that he used to use a bigger, what do they call it, trowels? Basically a bigger blade, and I was first using the 6-inch, kind of slab it on, then I came in with a 10-inch to kind of spread it out. But now I just bought a 14-inch, which I'm gonna guess is probably the wrong size. This big bad boy. I remember he used to kind of knife it on here. Oh, that's what it's called, a knife, I think. But he used to kind of just knife it on here, put a big glob of mud. And he'd scrape a little bit, put it on, scrape a little bit, put it on. And always kept his utensils very clean as he did his work. That's been what I've realized the hardest part, is keeping all your tools clean and not rigid with crud. Happy I got this, whether I use it to actually spread 14 inches wide or I just use it just for that purpose of working the mud. I also got some sandpaper, the mesh, just so you guys who are wondering, it's called drywall sanding screen. So I got 100 to really cut and 180 fine to just kind of make it a nice paintable surface. I was gonna go 220, I think was the next one up. I don't think it matters. I'm gonna be throwing primer and paint, so I don't think I'm too concerned about it. Got the sanding block for it. Oh, and I've got a scraper, which this has been scaring me, not gonna lie, I've been avoiding, but scraper to take off all the old mortar, or what is it called, thin set, I guess they call it. Any type of adhesive that's on here, I got this for, along with all the glue there that you can see kind of everywhere, little spots. I try to get the patches everywhere I go. They only have one patch of the size I need, or they have an 8x8, or these tiny little 4-inch ones, basically like a doorknob hole cover one. But every time I need the 6-inch, there's only one. So there was one here, there was one at Home Depot, there was one at Lowe's. So I couldn't even get 4 if I wanted to go to all 3 of those places. So I kind of made the decision while I was looking for them there that I think I'm just gonna try to use some tape over top. I have a little bit of tape left. I think just enough to do that, and maybe enough to do that little slice that we need to cover that piece of wood there. I think that's just all the tape I'll have left, and probably that little hole above that box there. I think I might just have enough. I don't know, we are going to find out. If I have to, I'll run back and grab some more. Now, with all that said, I'm gonna try to tackle the chairs again. I got some goof off, and I was trying to think what's the best type of thing to get those little paint marks off. I don't know what they are. I think they're hair color. They could be a piece of a shoe, someone kicking the tub trying to get the seat up, but it's on almost all of them, at least these two. Yeah, that one has blue as well. This one has blue as well. I feel like it's someone with a foot coming up and trying to kick it, but I've never seen blue shoes or blue soles, so I don't know, the whole thing's confusing me a little bit, but I kept trying to find out if maybe acetone would work, lacquer thinner, and I was asking for the help at the Ace Hardware. It's a young girl, I don't know, but I did ask her in case it was hair color what she would use, and she did have colored hair. She said the only thing she's ever found to work was this. So she said lacquer thinner would spread it, paint thinner really didn't do anything, but this would get it off. So I decided, okay, I'll try this. I don't know, Pro Strength Remover, adhesive and glue, asphalt and tar, dried latex paint. We'll see what happens. At the very least, I think it'll be a lot easier than what I was doing last night, which was just scrubbing the crap out of it with 3000 grit. So I hope I can at least just break this down a little bit. So I'm gonna get after tackling this thing, move on to buffing it again, and just try to go through all of these as quick as possible. I do want to get them set up, try to paint them today so that I can come in tomorrow, throw a sheet over top of them and start sanding all this extra spackling that I have up here down, get all this ready for the final coat so we can paint. I still have to put up that sheetrock and do those little patches, but basically just get as close as I can to painting, because once it's painted, I can start putting together cabinets, moving the chairs, putting up the mirrors. Those are the mirrors sitting in the way. So there's just a lot of little things I have to do after paint. Putting the shampoo bowls up, getting them out of my way instead of just randomly in the middle of everywhere. Just a lot of little things. So I think I've talked enough now. I'm gonna get started working on these chairs. See you guys in a bit. All right guys, a wrench has been thrown into the plans almost literally. The missus came to stop by to hook me up and drop me off a snack. And when she did, she pulled up and her car was smoking. Literally it was about to catch fire. The alternator is completely shot on her car. I checked the charging, it's down to 11.1 volts on the battery. So we just bought an alternator, got a bunch of tools, and I'm gonna install it in right now. It's gonna change up a little bit. There is gonna be some car content. So kind of works out. Anyways, I'm gonna get after it. See you guys there. All right, that burnt me out a little bit. For all you guys that say that I have so much patience, it's so good this thing has a bad mic, and that's why I fast forward all the working, because there was plenty of profanity during that last scene. The engine was still hot. I ended up searing the end of my finger trying to just get bolts out, trying to pinch them to move. It wasn't even touching anything hot, well, it was hot, but just the bolts, just trying to twist them were so hot that it burned the tips of my fingers. My arms are all inflamed right now from all the heat. Just, it whooped me. As you can tell, I'm a little slow right now, a little exhausted. The sun, the heat of the car, the actual thing, I'm just beat. But before all that happened, I was making good progress on the seats. That goof off or whatever I got really does knock it down. It does kind of smear it. So whatever coating is on here is kind of melted in the places that I removed all the stuff. But it's okay, because it's pretty light now, all those little spots. So I think coming back through with the 3000 really quick, just to kind of get it smooth, is gonna knock all that free. And then once I buff it, it's gonna be so easy. What I wanna do right now is finish this one up. I think I'm actually almost done. I think I got all the color, if not almost all of it, right when she called and she was outside. So I'm gonna make sure that there's no more left. Then I am going to tackle buffing this one and then get the last 3 done. I don't think it's gonna take that much time, maybe an hour, maybe a little longer, but I don't think it's gonna be too bad. And then once I get them done, I think I'm gonna try to figure out a way to set up a little paint booth type of thing and just paint all the tops of these red. So anyway, that's my goal for right now. I'm gonna get started. All right, so all the seats are wet sanded, buffed, polished. They're looking good. One of them does look worse than the rest. This one, unfortunately, and I don't know if you can see, but it's more of the white color that I wanted, and everything else is yellow. It's not so much what I did. It definitely is the worst stained out of the rest. And this one had a lot of overspray. They tried to correct this paint before, and there was just red overspray around the whole thing. So I tried my best to clean it up. Through scrubbing it a little hard, I broke through the old clear coat and got into the base coat. I ended up stop taping me doing this because I figured the first 3 was probably well enough that you didn't want to watch the last 2. But anyway, they're looking sharp. I'm very pleased. They look way better than when we got them. The next thing I want to do is to fix some of the holes in them. So there's a little hole right here. And then in this one, yesterday when I was stretching it, I put a bunch of little kind of holes. So I'm just gonna kind of fill these up, basically like a vinyl Bondo, if you wanna call it that. It's essentially just an adhesive, almost like a glue. So this was fixed before, but they didn't do it too well, so it got scraped again. But yeah, I think it's just this one, this little hole, those little holes on that one, and then there's 2 tiny little ones right here. I don't know if you guys can see them. So I'm gonna fix these things. Once those are all fixed, I'm then going to paint all of these. It's about 8 o'clock at night already, about 8:20 actually. So I want to bang these all out and leave them to dry for the evening. And then hopefully tomorrow morning, I can put them all into that corner or a corner somewhere and finish working on the rest of everything so I can get ready for paint. So anyway, that is my goal. Let's get at it. All right guys, it's the next day. The chairs are all done. I ended up going through 4 cans of the spray dye color. Worked out great, looks really good. I'm really happy with how well it all turned out. The fixes are a little noticeable. I didn't do them that well because I really don't understand quite how to make them better, but most of them came out pretty good. Yeah, I just kind of filled the holes. I gotta practice this whole little vinyl patch setup. Not quite sure how to do it yet. But just the overall color over top of them, it all looks really good. I'm really happy. I was going for like a Ferrari red leather color, and I feel like this hit it on the nose. It might be one tint of shade off, but it is very close. I love it when the whole salon is painted. These things are gonna pop because the rest of the salon is gonna be one color, and then these things are gonna be like shining inside the room. It's gonna be a really cool look. I'm glad I went through and I ended up just running out and grabbing another paint. I was almost gonna stop on 3 cans, but it looked so half done. And even now I think I could probably throw one more on just to be careful, just because this one looks amazing. It looks perfect. In fact, it looks like you're sitting in a Ferrari. These all are like a B+ compared to it, maybe hitting an A-, but they're not quite that one. But that's okay. If I get OCD, we'll be here all day painting these things till next week. So I gotta wrap up, I gotta call it done on these. I do wanna let this area air out a little bit. It smells a little bit like fumes in here. So what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna end the episode here. I have to just go back to Home Depot, bring some parts back, clean some of this stuff out, grab some new stuff to get everything else done, and just take a breather to kind of realize what I have to do next. I have to do all that sheetrock work. I have to get some paint. You guys mentioned vinyl or Formica. I've been thinking, and you guys are making sense. The Formica scares me just because I have worked and cleaned up Formica in the past with plywood behind it. And you're right, plywood absorbs water like a beast, but once it gets behind the Formica, it sucks it right up, and it is so hard to get rid of that moisture. So the idea of me putting Formica on top and just the crack of where you cut and join the Formica together, even if you caulk it, whatever, it always ends up, from what I've seen, catching eventually and water getting behind it. But yeah, with just the Formica, it'll catch in each of the grooves. It always ends up peeling. Someone catches it. And I know I'm being dramatic and ridiculous, but it does. Every time I've seen it, I've always seen an issue where the Formica tends to come up somewhere. Catches somewhere, always catches water, and then once water's beneath it, the moisture stays. Then the vinyl wrap I was considering as well, but the only vinyl wrap I can find is like vinyl car wrap that's big enough for this, and that's like $300. Otherwise, it's just, I can get vinyl wrap that's black at Michael's, like little craft stores, but then it's only 12 inches by 5 feet. So I need like 7 rolls. It's gonna look ridiculous. It's not gonna look good. Plus, there's always gonna be water dripping down from the shower head on these things. Just from holding it as you wash the hair, you put it back in the holder, just a little bit runs down the hose, lands somewhere here in the wood, somewhere. So there's always going to be a problem with some type of water getting in those holes, just regardless, it's gonna happen. I do remember talking to the guy who set up the spot where the missus used to work, and all he did was an enamel black paint. I think he did a couple of coats, and that thing worked perfect for years. So not really concerned. I think I'm just gonna do the paint, probably 2, 3, 4 coats on there after the primer, after I kind of do another mudding on this thing, try to smooth it all out. If it does become wet, we'll have to just rebuild it in the future. But I still have to do some of the spackling, the mudding, scrape it all down, clean it up, set up the sink. The cabinets should be on their way. I think Tuesday they're gonna be arriving. But yeah, guys, I really am happy with just how well these seats came out. And I don't know if you guys can notice, but all the sawdust in here has turned red just from all this extra overspray landing. So I want to get out of here, go return that stuff, try to get some parts for the next job. But yeah, guys, with all that said, I think that is going to wrap up this episode of Bro Premiere. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll catch you again next time. Later, guys.